Hello everyone, and welcome to Dead Effect. This is a first-person horror sci-fi shooter, which I believe was originally released on mobile, but was successful enough and well-polished enough to later get a PC and Mac port. So that's actually quite nice to see. Let's get into it. These characters, not gonna lie, seem almost identical. You read their biographies and it's like, oh, this guy, he got special training where the only aim is to seek and destroy the target. This gal, special combat training which makes her a perfect killing machine. Those are the same thing. Those are the same thing said in two different ways. But we're going to pick Gunnar. They do have different voice acting, to be fair. And we're not going to turn on auto heal. I think that maybe we don't need it.
Delta 3 chamber active. Tissue and vital function check. Error. Disruption detected. Restart. Emergency nanotrite activation launch. 3, 2, 1. Awakening.
You never really want there to be a disruption while they're checking if your tissue is alright.
2045. Day 178 from the beginning of the hibernation. Active. Critical state of health detected.
Early on, the computer voice of the ship.
Oh, I feel better now. Let's see what's going on here.
And Davis's voice, Gunnar Davis's voice, are constantly overlapping, and it's like really hard to make sense of what anyone's saying. But basically, we were critically injured while in stasis or something, and we had to heal ourselves at the healing station. Something immediately noticeable about this game is that your character just kind of floats around the environment. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Movement in first-person shooters is often deliberately abstracted. But we are definitely just a pair of floating arms. That seems to be the case. I just thought that was interesting. I'm not sure what the function is of a security weapon as opposed to any other weapon. I'm not sure if we are security or what role we had on this ship. I'm very curious whether this tentacle is going to leap back out at us, but it seems to have retreated back into its hovel. Perhaps it is as frightened of us as we are of it.
Magnetic stun gun. 1,000 volts at a single shot.
So, keep in mind this is a stun gun. Alright? It's a stun gun. It's our first gun. We can aim down. Well, it doesn't have iron sights, but we can aim more precisely. Just keep in mind this is a stun gun, and its function is to stun things. Could you imagine a world where all the money has holographic projections? It says press Y to use Devastation. Devastation is a super ability of ours. We don't need it in this room. It's not necessary. One of my favorite things about this game is how we can viscerally break open these lockers. I don't know how we're doing that. It seems like we're using our sheer force of will to break the locker open.
Access denied. Exit door locked.
We just demand that it give way to our greed. And it was greed in that instance because it was just money.
Hey man, what's going on here?
You ever see your coworkers eating the flesh of someone and ask, hey man, what's going on here? I mean, it'd be rude to be presumptuous, right? You don't want to just assume it's like a zombie apocalypse situation. That's not fair to them. So you see what I mean? The stun gun seems a little excessively powerful. It's making their heads pop clean off. Not sure what this is doing. I haven't found this game to be particularly tense so far, but I haven't played much of it. We're going to keep the stun gun for now. I just want to see how far I can go with it. So I personally like the idea of exploring the ship myself, but if we ever do get lost, we can turn that on. It's kind of a neat little display. I actually really like how the arrows look. It looks like the sort of UI that this auto-navigational system might actually have. It's interesting. It's interesting to look at. Everyone has different ideas of what sci-fi would look like, you know? Don't know what that is. I am also a little disappointed that in this room the zombies don't come to life and ambush you or any such thing. I think it would have been a prime opportunity for that. You could have also hidden a secret collectible under here. Just using the environment more to your advantage in both storytelling, building tension, and encouraging exploration. I wonder if this game was much inspired by Doom 3. Sounds like someone's having a bad time. But yeah, I wonder if this game was much inspired by Doom 3. Because on Doom 3, most of the, if I'm not mistaken, most of the gameplay takes place on a frigate that looks kind of similar to this.
Automatic defense activated. Warning. Unidentified movement in the decon sector.
It's kind of obvious from
Warning. Cargo bay integrity disrupted.
it's kind of obvious from this that this game would have done really well in a mobile environment, because for a mobile game it is highly polished graphically. It's comparable to like an indie FPS you'd play on consoles. That appears to be our objective marker. So let's go everywhere else first. Well, here's something moving. Oh, we're closing the shutter. That's honestly probably a good idea. Probably for the best that we did that. Yohim Hayes to Gunnar Davis. Isn't Jane Frey supposed to be like this super competent assassin? Why are we calling her a fragile girl? Alright, child military soldier. Participating in military conflicts since she was 16. 100 kills, tons of medals. I don't really like this. This is exceptionally objectifying, but like maybe that's part of the character building. Like, the only way we'll know for sure is if someone decides to also objectify Gunnar Davis. Hello, friends. The controller support in this game isn't, like, flawless or anything, by the way. Occasionally, I'll jerk hard to the left or right. Well, I'm just meaning to make slight adjustments. Sort of feels almost like I'm magnetized. Core access granted initiating extraction sequence. Well, that's probably not good. I can't imagine that we authorized anyone accessing the core, so that's probably not ideal. Not that I know whether we're in a position to authorize that, but whatever the core of the ship is, I have to imagine you want it in the ship. All right, let's see. Did we do everything we could in here? Oh, what's this? We have forced open that locker and looted it, as we always do. The atmosphere in this game is serviceable, I would say. The only real dialogue we've gotten, aside from Gunnar Davis's very funny concern about his zombified coworkers, though, is that one pad. And it's not like there aren't sexist, weird people in all workplaces, right? But it feels weird to just start with objectifying one of the two main characters like that. But maybe if you play as Jane, there's an equally embarrassing log about Davis. Again, this is a stun gun. I just feel like they might be greatly exaggerating the utility a stun gun has in murder. It's not like stun guns can't murder, don't get me wrong. I think this game's overblowing it just a bit. The thing about games like this, I suppose, is that it's really hard to find... Like, it's really hard for me to find the zombies intimidating because... What are they doing? Shambling at me? Shambling, I think, is a good word for that. And in a straight line, more or less. And I feel pretty superpowered myself. My stun gun blows their heads off. I have grenades. I have plentiful bullets. It just doesn't feel particularly threatening. But this is fairly early in the game, right? We're like 5 minutes in. You right down there? Probably not. You seem to be disintegrating. Oh, he's mad. He's doing something. Not sure what that was, but he's doing something in my general direction. I might have to switch to a real gun soon. I only have the 1 health dip left. But I really like the idea of seeing how far we can get in a game like this with just a stun gun. Actually, can I dodge? Oh, that's probably what the magnetizing was, is that if you double tap, it seems like you can dodge. It just requires stamina. So I was accidentally double tapping is my guess. There's a healing station.
Medi station now active.
Gunnar Davis will not be defeated this day.
Healing process completed.
I actually kind of... Oh, what's this? To all units, Professor Wagner's team has uncovered the possibility of a potentially dangerous reaction of explosive materials during faster-than-light flight. We were forced to remove all hazardous objects from the ship's decks. This includes your equipment. From now on, all weapons and ammo will be stored in specialized chambers to prevent spontaneous explosions. That just seems like good sense. Can't really blame anyone for that. A little bit of in-universe explanation as to the looting mechanics, I suppose. We're not really getting much of Gunnar's opinion on what's happening right now. Is this just like a normal Saturday evening for him? Like, where is his concern on the scale? Because all we've gotten so far is him saying, that's weird, my objective marker seems to have disappeared. That's a thing that happens sometimes in this game, is you'll pause and then come back from the pause menu, and certain features will be disabled or changed. It's not great. That's not a great thing. But you know, the controller support's not perfect.
This is an automatic status report. September 7th, 2045. Unwelcome activity in the station. Activation of Section 13, no result.
Weird. Nothing more to find out here.
Gunnar, I admire your simplicity. I feel like you're the kind of guy who makes it through these situations all right. Not because you're necessarily thinking to the best of your ability, but instead because you understand the mindset it takes to survive a zombie apocalypse. You see that the ship's been tampered with. There are zombies everywhere. Your response, well, that's weird. I think that that's a real survivor mindset. I'm not even being sarcastic, Gunnar. I think that that level of aloofness is probably ideal for your safety. Secret Orb 004. That reminds me that in the advertising for this game, they explicitly were like, oh man, you want to look for some secret orbs? There are secret orbs in this game. Which, I'm not going to lie, was very funny to me as like a selling point. Oh, upgrades, huh? Accuracy? Well, what do we got up here? Grenades, weapons, bonus, auto healing. You don't like dying? Do you want to feel like an immortal god? This upgrade of your suit automatically heals you after being injured by the zombies. I don't I don't really want to, like, remove challenge from the game. That's not what I'm about. You can see there's a chainsaw over here. I have 15,250 credits. That's not enough for this chainsaw. You know, I think we're probably good. Let's go to the next mission.
I have to find out how many crew members are alive. I may get some connection in the communication hub.
Would we go to the communication hub to find out how many crew members are alive? Is that like the function of that place? See, we wouldn't have wanted to buy new weapons anyway because they made a whole bunch of them. Made a whole bunch of them appear right before us. It'd be silly. It seems that the stun gun locks on to the nearest enemy regardless of where you're aiming. So that's actually a fun little bit of challenge. Just to make sure the guy you want to kill is nearby. Because the game has its own idea about where the lightning should go. And that's just very satisfying to use, as I have to imagine was the intention. I have to assume the devastation mechanic is purely there for satisfaction. But playing the game this way, it feels more like a puzzle, you know? Like seeing how far you can survive with minimal resources. And if we get enough credits, I think we can afford that chainsaw. And you better believe I'm going to start playing with the chainsaw after we get the chainsaw. I don't mean to nitpick again, but right here, they really should have made an enemy pop out, I think, at you. Like, you come in here to get these credits, and the guy drops in, and you're like, ah, zombie. You know, I feel like that's the vibe. In the name of the ESS Meridian Science Team, I wish to inform you about a revolutionary discovery that we have made. It will help us with the hard task of colonizing the inhospitable planet Tau Ceti F. I think that's an F. I hope that's an F. We have developed a method of human augmentation which will help the body function in unfavorable conditions with a minimal usage of energy and continuous maximum performance. The application of this augmentation is very simple. We have named this technology D-Effect. Oh, I see what you did there. Isn't it always the case that it's some sort of genetic experimentation? Isn't it always the case? Also, I really like the idea that it was called D-Effect. Not because of the obvious comparisons to the game's title of Dead Effect. But instead, because it's a slang... It's a snappy, slangy way to say the effect. Like, hey, get ready, here's D-Effect. You feeling D-Effect now? I'm feeling D-Effect of these zombies' AI. Oh, he just started crawling. Yeah, see, there's minimal room to maneuver, but I find that makes it all the more engaging to fight the enemies, because I have to think more about my spacing. I have to imagine it would be much easier to do if I were to simply mow down everyone. We'll activate the communication link I'm exploring right now. This may be a space that's familiar to you, Gunnar Davis, but to me, it's all new. And I want to look around. I'm taking my time. Being a tourist here.
The comlink in your suit has been activated. Analysis of your state of health. Blood pressure, 180/110. Temperature, 41 degrees Celsius. You are not okay. Recommended.
Thanks for the advice.
Hello, can you hear me? I received a report about the activation of the comlink in your suit.
Finally, somebody contacted me.
I'm Professor Wagner from the research section. You have to follow my instructions. I am opening the corridor.
Whoa. What the fuck is happening here?
There has been an accident aboard the craft.
I can see that. What's the status?
There is no time. The elevator.
It's understandable to be a bit surly and quippy in this instance, I think. Can't really blame Gunnar for that. On average, though, still remarkably calm. I suppose that has to be something you'd expect from someone with his training. He is trained, after all, to be a deadly killing machine. Even with a stun gun, which inexplicably can make people's heads burst clean off their bodies and fly into the ceiling. I do have to wonder how much less difficult the game would be if I weren't imposing this challenge on myself. Like, I don't want to be entirely unfair to the game. As zombie lunge attacks go, those ones are reasonably erratic. I do think that the music is a bit overkill, though. Like, the music seems to think that something incredibly, unbelievably tense is happening right now, and that's not at all the case. Was I in danger there? For sure. I just don't think I was in that much danger. I feel like my heart rate was at an acceptable level. And I think that's fair to say, because there are plenty of games that have been so tense that my palms have started sweating and my heart started beating like crazy. And those are fun. I'm not super sure that's likely to happen in this game in particular. Boop.
Well, it doesn't work. There's no power.
There must be a backup generator. Find and activate it.
I really like how normal middle-aged man upset Gunnar sounded about that. He's like, "Ah, man, the darn thing doesn't work." And that's a completely understandable reaction, again. I'm not sure how much of this characterization is something that is deliberate. I don't know what these gold bars do. The gold bars actually feel really weird. Of all the things in this game, like, there's not very much in this game that screams mobile game, but the gold bars definitely scream mobile game. They look like mobile game assets. One moment. Alright, back at it. I haven't seen anything to suggest there are microtransactions in this game. I hope never to see anything which suggests there are microtransactions in this game. But you never know. You never know. I'm not quite sure what the threat of the crawling zombies is meant to be. Uh-oh, it appears that I've lost the ability to control my character with the gamepad because I'd paused for a moment. That was me reaching over to my keyboard to do that. This is a problem. I mean, I guess I can camp out here and shoot these guys until, oh, no, actually, I can't seem to shoot with my mouse either. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I paused for a moment and it took control away from my gamepad entirely. You know, let's figure this out. Alright. So, upon restarting the game, the controls are working again. I have found out also I've turned the volume down for everyone's benefit. I have found out also that there is an achievement for finishing levels using only the stun gun. Which I guess I should have assumed that that was the case. This definitely seems like the sort of game that would benefit from that. You know, I've almost always liked challenging myself to get through games with the least lethal, least powerful weapon. And sometimes that's like sort of an intended or stated function of the game design. But it doesn't really matter whether it is. I generally try to do it regardless, just for fun. And, like, it's nice, I suppose. Like, I don't want to be ungrateful. I think it's actually really nice that there is an available achievement for doing exactly that in this game. But also, while I am grateful for the inclusion, it sort of ruins a bit of the surprise, you know? Because I wasn't previously aware that it was possible before now. But now I know it can be done. And Chivo hunters, they're everywhere. You can't escape them. So I know someone's done it before. It just sort of feels like the mystery aspect isn't present any longer. Am I still going to do it? Absolutely. I definitely could have moved back sooner. I wasn't listening to my instincts. That was all hubris. I wonder, so it definitely seems that the devastation mechanic doesn't count as an alternate weapon. I wonder if you could just hide in previous rooms, run in, and use the devastation mechanic. Oh hey, someone crawled out of one of those vents. I was wondering if that would ever happen. I guess it's a good thing I was paying attention to that last time. And the zombies are standing back up, not gonna lie. I had no expectation the zombies could stand back up after they started crawling. It's not like this game is oh, this is where I already was. It's not like this game is so far poorly made by any means. Like, it functions well. It does what it wants to do with reasonable success. I do wonder whether these zombies are infinitely spawning at this point. I don't know where they're coming from. But there's a lot of them. Do you get some sort of resource for killing the zombies? Yeah, it definitely seems like they're just coming from somewhere. Alright, I guess we turn the power back on. I'm not sure how pressing that button turned the power back on, but I guess we did it. That seems a little questionable to me. But yeah, maybe at this point they've started introducing infinitely spawning... Oh my god. Well, that was actually genuinely surprising for a second there. I did not expect that. Anyway, as I was saying, maybe this is the point at which they've started spawning infinite amounts of weak zombies to prevent you from cheesing the game too effectively. Don't worry, I'm going through the corridor. But I will be going at my own pace, Dr. Wagner. I hope you understand. Again, I'm playing this game as a tourist.
Zombies?
You can call them that. There is not much time. Quickly proceed to the corridor.
Unwelcome activity in the station premise.
This is fairly early on in the story to just start admitting that they're zombies, but I don't suppose there's anything wrong with that. I also can't imagine what other twists the story might have in store for us. Because this doesn't seem like a game which would have anything particularly tricky up its sleeve to think about. But that said, I do want to point out that earlier, when I was questioning whether whether Gunnar Davis's character development was intended. First of all, that's irrelevant. Doesn't really matter whether it's intended. If it's there, it's there. Secondly, I know from experience writing a lot that people put a lot of thought into their characterization on average, way more thought than the consumer generally puts into it. So I shouldn't be assuming that what I'm seeing in Gunnar Davis's character is unintentional. I shouldn't be assuming that. Someone might have put a lot of genuine thought into his dialogue. There is also another thing about knowing that the stun gun is an effective means to complete the game, and that while it might make things much more challenging, it also means that I'm distinctly aware that I will encounter nothing so overwhelming that a reasonable player could not be expected to handle it. And given how simple the enemy AI is, that only makes sense. That only makes sense. I will be using the chainsaw, though. That's non-negotiable. When I find the chainsaw... Sorry, when I can afford the chainsaw, excuse me, I will be using it. Alright, that's the intended way to go. But I am here to get the money. Because the money will allow me to purchase the chainsaw. And the chainsaw surely would not be so expensive if it were not incredibly effective. Generally, that's how it works in video games. Not always in real life. In real life, sometimes the efficacy of a product is not tied to its cost, but in video games, almost always. At least that's the intent, I find. Oh, lore. Mike, Professor Wagner's team found a potentially dangerous reaction of explosive material. I already read this. I already read this one. Didn't I? Yeah. I'm not sure why that tablet is also here in a different... Ooh. Why that tablet is also here in a completely different level.
Healing process completed.
I have to wonder what the Metastation is actually doing to Gunnar Davis's body. I do appreciate the plethora of side rooms which allow the shadow work there is actually pretty good. I do appreciate the plethora of side rooms which allow and encourage exploration. Gold bar. I want the gold bar. I don't really envision myself spending it on anything, but I want it. Because it looks like a mobile game asset, and those are designed to make you want them at all costs. Not as much as I want the money, though. Let's hope that that thing is, knows what it's doing, and will not also shoot me to death. Okay, no, my objective is to destroy the defense turret, so I assume that it will shoot me to death. Can I sprint? That's crouch. Can I sprint? Yes, okay. I'm doing my best to destroy the defense turret game. I promise. I don't know if this is having any effect on it, but I'm doing my best. Alright, I'm not sure if the devastation, like, I'm less than certain at all that the devastation had any effect on it. Also, it's a bit odd that the sound of the bullets begins before it starts shooting. The goal is to destroy it, apparently, and not just Not just disable it. But I'm not sure why we would need to do that. You know, back when I said that there can't be anything that a reasonable player might not be able to handle because of that, achievement, I was wrong. I think this is a pretty good example of that not being the case. And that's actually pretty cool, I think. Alright, well, I want to find out how to get through here with just a stun gun, but I'm going to run up, try the devastation one more time, and if that doesn't work, I will, in fact, be using a grenade. Yeah, that didn't work. Alright, it's time to use a grenade. We had some good times with the stun gun. It served us well. That was shockingly effective. I'm not sure I've seen a more immediately effective feedback on a grenade. That was crazy. Back to the stun gun. It was a very satisfying explosion. Apparently, I either aimed it perfectly or the aiming was fudged in my favor. But that went about as perfectly... Oh, hey, a chainsaw. But that went about as perfectly as anyone could have expected. Guy with a chainsaw, a little bit mad about getting zapped, but he didn't die. Okay, good. Why'd he blow up? Who knows? But the stun gun can take those guys down. Who knows? Maybe if I'd kept at it long enough with the stun gun on the turret, that also would have borne fruit. I'll look it up. We're getting into a situation where a lot of these rooms are already looking a bit similar. And that's definitely part of, like, the intentional artistic direction in this game, just as it was in Doom 3. Oh, projectile, huh? So I don't want to necessarily dock the game for that. Visual variety does make a game more interesting. But I don't necessarily think that you have to make it one of the core design principles. I think there's something fascinating about spending such a lengthy period of time. The telegraphing and visual indication for that zombie spit, by the way, is really good. Like, I can't imagine myself having issues avoiding it. Like, as soon as I knew it was a mechanic I had to look out for, no problem evading it. So that's a good sign, I think. Like, obviously, player skill is a factor in that, but it's also just very well signposted. Hello. It's not really a surprise that you guys are coming out of there anymore. They might need to, like, hold back on it a bit if they wanted to maintain a level of surprise. You can see some of the UI elements are sort of like leftovers from back when the game was a mobile game. Don't know what that is. We're almost back to the same money, the same funds we had previous to my my dying to the turret. Oh, level's over. Level's over. Accuracy 74%. That's not so bad. Oh, I found all of the credits? Like, I actually straight up found all of them? That's actually... I'm pretty happy with that. If there's anything I wanted to 100%, it was that. All right, well, I'm gonna see how long it takes to get the see how long it takes to grind to the chainsaw. There it is over there. All right. We finally have enough credits to purchase this lovely chainsaw, so we will be doing that. Yes, I really want to buy the chainsaw. All right, now let's test it out.